personally super excited to be here today. I live in Sweden, but I'm originally from Czech Republic, so I love every opportunity that I get to come here. So yes, I'm going to talk about an accelerator that I'm running in Sweden, and how that could be used as a model for an inspiration for education. But let me start by a quote. So the current system of education was designed, structured, and conceived in the different age. It was conceived in the intellectual culture of the Enlightenment and the economic circumstances of the Industrial Revolution. This is a quote by an education expert, Sir Ken Robinson, and it comes from his talk, Changing Education Paradigms. By the way, that talk is available on YouTube, and I highly recommend if you're slightly interested in education. He's explaining it in a very nicely way. But the way we educate in basically all over the world was created sometime in the 18th and 19th century, and basically hasn't changed since then, even though our lives are very different than they were some 200 years ago. So as Sir Ken Robinson, I too believe that we need to change the way we educate. My name is Jana, and I am running a Swedish games accelerator called Stugan. I've been there from the very beginning, and I've helped forming this concept. But all my life, I've been passionate about two things: games and education. And in a way, Stugan connects my two passions. When I was at school, as many of you, I guess, I had subjects that I really liked and that I was very interested in, and then subjects that I didn't like so much because I didn't find them so interesting. And I often found myself struggling to find the motivation to learn things that I didn't really like. And it was really difficult. And I believe that in order for people to learn successfully, either you need to find the subject interesting and fun, or you need to be motivated to learn. Nowadays, we're being stimulated by so many sources all the time. We have our smartphones, we have the TV, we have internet. We basically live in front of a screen. And with new technologies like AR and VR, the information and the world around us is actually going to become a part of our world. We can communicate with people across the world. We can have an intimate, real-time discussion with people just through the screens. This is a picture from a co-working space in Stockholm called Sub46, and every time I go there, I see people, they look exactly the same. They sit in front of a computer, they type, and I often wonder what is it they're doing, because everybody looks like they're doing exactly the same thing. But they're doing many different things. These are some of the coolest startups in the world, and they're doing very creative things. But this picture could be taken basically anywhere in the world. You just come to an office and you see people sitting in front of a computer and doing the same thing. So we spend so much time in front of a computer, yet the education hasn't changed in decades, and kids still don't get basically any compulsory computer education. We basically follow the old patterns of memorizing books and testing our knowledge with only one correct answer, and we don't encourage creativity, and we don't help the students find the motivation to learn. Here, this is Stugan. It's a Swedish non-profit accelerator. We run it during the summer, and we bring together some 20 game developers from all over the world, and they come to Sweden and they spend the summer in the forest in the middle of Sweden. Unlike other games incubators, we don't take any part of the games that are being created at Stugan, and the participation is completely for free for the participants. And I think one of the coolest things about Stugan is that it creates talent, it creates an environment that attracts people from all over the world, the greatest talent that come there, because they have nothing to lose in coming there. The concept was created by two veterans from the Swedish games industry, Oskar Burman and Tommy Palm, who've been both in the industry for many years, and they now feel like they want to give back and help new talents find a way in the industry as well. As I said, we run the program during the summer, and so far we've done 2 batches, and we are preparing for the 3rd one. We announced last week that we opened the call for applications for next year, And if you're interested in that, you can go to our website, Stugan.com/apply, and there you find all the information about that. So we bring together approximately 20 game developers, and they spend the summer working side by side in a cabin in the woods. These 20 people are usually distributed into 13 to 15 teams, and each team work on their own game. And when people come to Stugan, they get their own desk and where they can sit and work, but many people prefer to work somewhere else, like in a forest or on a stone in a river, like you see here in the pictures. We also don't have any set working hours. People are free to work anytime they like. We believe that people get creative and focused at different times of the day. Some people like to sleep in and work late hours, and some people prefer to work from 9 to 6. People can do as they like, but they just need to understand that this is not a paid vacation. They're expected to actually work on their games and make progress. But as I said earlier, one of the key things in being productive, either if it's learning or working, is that you need to be motivated. And we try to bring our people to be motivated in what they do. And here is how we try to do that. When we go through the applications and we select the candidates, we try to get a great diverse group. People from different cultures, people from different parts of the world, people who work on different games, different genres, different platforms, and different people with different kind of experience. We, for example, had people who just finished their studies together with people who've been working in the industry for a few years. And that really creates a great environment where people, everybody has some different knowledge, some different experience, and everybody is able to contribute in some way. Everybody has something to say. We also hold weekly presentations. So every Friday, 3 teams stand up in front of everybody and they talk about their games. They present the game and ask for feedback from the participants. And everybody is very happy to give some feedback and offer help when they can. And one of the things that people do spontaneously is that they organize workshops. They feel like they have something they want to share with other people, and they just say, like, I'm going to talk about this, on Wednesday at 5. Just come and listen. And everybody's very happy to come and learn new things. It's a really great environment. That's something that is enabled by the diverse group that we have, because people have different knowledge. And just the fact that people sit together and work side by side is very valuable to them. Many indies, they sit alone at home and work on their games, and here they actually spend 2 months, 24/7, next to other game developers. And often they come to me and they say how amazing this is, because they really get so inspired and so motivated by the other people who sit and work on their games. And people just feel like they want to be as good as the other people are. And last but not least, we bring in mentors. And let me talk a little bit more about the mentors. So when we invite mentors, we also want people with different experience, different backgrounds. We try to cover different topics, different areas of expertise. So the mentors that come, they've talked about PR, about different types of game design, game development, how to make sound, how you make art, how you deal with contracts, some legal aspects that are very important as well, often neglected by the game developers. We also invite people who talk about business, how you actually run a games company, how you when you're ready to release your game, what you do then. And these people come and they usually spend 1 to 3 days with us. Usually they open with a talk where they introduce themselves, and then they talk about some topic that could be beneficial to everybody, and then they spend more time talking one-on-one to the teams. And that's been really a great value to our teams, because they feel like it's it's exciting for them to spend some time with a developer that they've read about in the news, and they get to have them play their games and get a feedback from these people. And what I didn't expect myself was that it actually works both ways. So even the mentors, they feel like they actually get a lot out of interacting with our participants, and when they leave, they feel very energized and they feel very inspired coming back to their life and to their work. And many of them, they come back and they like that, and they make sure that they're there next year as well. Here, this is a great example. Clint Sue was a participant in the first batch of Stugan back in 2015. And before he applied to Stugan, he wasn't working as a game developer, actually. He was working as a visual effects artist. And then he heard about Stugan, and he thought it sounded cool, and he created a game concept that he applied with to Stugan. And he sent us the application video and blew our minds. And we accepted him. And then he came to Sweden all the way from the US. And he spent 2 months there learning and working on his game. And he really made sure that he used his time well. He prepared for the interactions with mentors. He made sure to spend a lot of time with other game developers talking about the game and asking for help and getting a lot of help in return. And this is the game that he created. It's called Prism. And it was the first game that was launched out of Stugan. It came out a year ago. It was launched on iOS first, and then later on the Android. It was featured both on the App Store and in the Google Play Store. And he got a lot of great feedback and a lot of attention to the game. And actually, he ended up moving to Sweden and working in a games company full time. So there you have it. Here, this is an article from the November issue of the Edge magazine. We try to get as much media attention to the project and the participants as possible. We invite journalists, and they write an article about that. There was a feature about Stugan in publications like the Wall Street Journal, Fortune, or even Playboy wrote about us. And one journalist said something that really stuck with me. He came to Stugan, he spent a day there, and when he was just getting ready to leave, he told me, and I quote, he said, "This is how all higher education should be like." And then he paused, and he thought for a moment, and then he said, "No, this is how all education should be like, period." Many of you here in this room are already very accomplished. If you choose a career in games, you sign up for lifelong learning in a very competitive environment. It's very likely that games have helped you find motivation to learn difficult things in your life. But I believe that games have a bigger potential than just being an entertainment. I believe that games should be used everywhere in the world to help people find the motivation to learn the difficult things. I believe that if we shall continue to benefit from the progress that is accelerating us, we need to make sure that we use our skills and we create software that is making teaching and learning as fun as playing your favorite game. Thank you.